Welcome to the Escape Room. I'm your host, Armin, and this is a place where small business owners get together and talk about life and daily challenges. And my guest today is my close friend, co-owner and co-founder of Red Top Grocery Market. Very interesting person to have conversation with. A guy that I can always approach with some high-tech questions and he'll come up with the answer. And a guy that I can spend many, many hours to have fun and entertain and have a pleasant conversation. Welcome, Ara.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And first question. How did you start?
Which one?
Well, the one I actually represented you with the Red Top Market.
I spent a better part of a decade working on point of sales, and installing them for multiple locations. One of them ended up being my friend. So when the opportunity arose for him to start his second location, he approached me and was like, "Hey, you know a little bit about this. Care to open one with me?" And so that's how I ended up selling canned goods.
Awesome. Well, in the time that we're living in, and most of the stores, doesn't matter what you sell, are struggling with online sales and Amazon and big companies that take over everything, including grocery markets. What do you see in your future? How can you compete with them, and how, even if you don't want to compete, how you can take an advantage to use their platform to grow bigger?
Well, in your local community, when you're talking about a corner grocery store, which we are, we do supermarket volume. We really do. But we're still a corner grocery store, one location. To compete with them is idiotic. There's no competition. They can bankrupt you without anything, like no sweat. All right, we're talking about Amazon.com. We're talking about Jeff Bezos. We're talking about the guy who bankrupted Diapers.com because Diapers.com wouldn't sell it to him, and then he had the audacity to call the former CEO of Diapers.com and saying, "Thank you very much for saving my stockholders $3 billion." So no, there is no competition over there. Okay, Walmart, Whole Foods, total loser business, but it doesn't affect him at all. Who cares? He's learning the market. We are talking about over $1 trillion industry, grocery industry in the USA is in the lower 48 is over $1 trillion business. So he doesn't care. He wants to have a foot in the door over there. He owns all retail. The man bankrupted Sears. All right. You used to be able to buy a house from a Sears catalog. You can't do that anymore thanks to Bezos. And he built a beautiful platform. It is absolutely beautiful. Yes, it is a Goliath. Yes, it is a monopoly, but is it really? You can buy from someone else, but you don't because it's cheaper on Amazon. We choose with our wallets. Now, when it comes down to grocery shopping, it's different. People still have that personal approach to it. They want to be serviced by people they recognize in a smaller area. So we still have customers that come into our location because they know the butcher by name, the deli service counter person by name. They trust the produce because they know is a locally grown, locally harvested produce. So that tangible part you can't get rid of. Online grocery sales during COVID pandemic, they peaked at 15%. Yeah. Now they're back down to 7%. Online grocery is not for everyone. Most people don't like it. Most people want to pick. We're not hunter-gatherers anymore, but it's close enough. When you walk in, you want to see that steak before you pick it. You want to feel the ripeness of that tomato before you choose it. Thank you. So having a random person from Instacart, which is no different than Amazon's online shopping platform. There's no difference. You're having a stranger pick your food. It's too personal. Yeah. So online grocery has its place. It absolutely does. It's for the super busy or the super lazy. Pick one. You're paying a premium. You're always paying a premium. There's no fighting that because the cost is way too much. There's too much labor over there. You're paying for it. Be it 10% marked up on top of the in-store prices and 10% fees for delivery at $4.99 or $3.99, whatever Instacart charges today. So there is always a place for a local grocery store. That's not going away. Remaining competitive is not so much the dollar as it is the quality and the service. Yeah. So that's where you want to stay in, is that you provide that old school butcher, the old school feel, that this is my store. People love saying that. This is, they say I shop at Red Top, and they mean it more like it's part of theirs. This their community. Yeah. That's how they do it.
Yeah. And does the fact that you are in if you take pharmacies, most of the chain pharmacies been taken over by CVS or Walmart, but small ethnic pharmacies are still doing good because they're servicing certain ethnicity or culture. Do you think that helps you to survive in your community?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have the old school mentality of you have to know.
We have flies today here.
Yeah. You want to trust a person giving you drugs. You want to trust a person giving you the meat. So it comes down to, if you walk up to the butcher and say, hey, could I get a pound of ground beef? You want to trust that person is not going to give you something bad. And that comes from our old school mentality with not blind trust. You want to have that rapport with that individual before you can trust the medication they give you and or the food they give you. So that does play a role.
I see. And when it comes to, like back in a few hundred years ago, there were like Butcher Street, Baker Street, and you knew that you live in London and you go to Baker Street, you'll buy a piece of bread and come back. And in a town that you're located, there's a lot of small corner stores, as you are. It might sound rough, but why do I have to shop from you?
You don't have to shop. I mean, it's small conveniences. I get a lot of customers saying that we're not the best, but we have the best parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
We're not the best, but we're convenient. We're the closest. We're not the cheapest, but we have XYZ. So it's small little things. It can be the dumbest little things, and that's their decision factor. We're right down the street. We have convenient parking. Whatever, pick one. Our butchers will grind any cut of meat. Name it, they pick these small little things, and that's good enough. They ignore the rest. People do come to those quick decisions, and it comes from, time. It's right next to my children's school. Whatever it is, they pick us. So.
By the way, when it comes to choosing meat, I always recommend you because I love that part. I know there's no question about it. Best quality. And when it comes to the business part of running a corner store, especially nowadays with the high prices, and how do you see 2 years ago, all of us thought that COVID is going to hit us hard, and we survived, and we thought it's going to be, okay, it's already passed, we just have to move on. But nowadays, we are facing different problem with the prices on gas that starts chain reaction, and it affects your vendors and affects yourself. Even if you don't want to raise prices to be able to compete with your pretty much neighbor stores, you do have expenses and you need to cover them. How do you see any solution in that?
That's a big question. That's a big question.
4-hour-long question.
Solution: there is no solution. There's you're stuck between choice and no choice. We don't have a choice. COVID caused a lot of things. In the 24 months since COVID, our prices are up 100%.
Yeah.
That's not a joke. We're not talking about, 6%, 3%, 2%, consumer price index. No. We're up 100%. And of course, there's a lot of variables that took place for that. We had a lot of free money. Let's not forget that. We did have a lot of free money. A lot of free money caused a lot of people to stop going to work. So to get people to get back to work, it caused payroll to go through the roof. There's no such thing as offering minimum wage in California, $15, $16 an hour for a basic entry position job. They wouldn't take it. They're not interested. I get more money sitting at home and watching Netflix. Yeah. So that's one part of the equation. Second part of the equation is fuel. From your farmers to your cattle ranchers, Everybody's being hurt by fuel prices. Yeah. This is never before seen idiotic numbers. We are talking truly idiotic.
Yeah.
Astronomical numbers. So when your growers and your farmers are over there, basic cattle ranchers, then you come in with new regulations, especially in the chicken world, eggs and all that. We do get, the chickens was, bird flu kicked in. That's another funny thing that happened. So, chicken prices went up, I think, 80% in the last year because of bird flu, because they had to slaughter so much of the flock, because it's, supply demand.
It's crazy.
We all want chicken wings. Well, sorry, there's less chickens with wings. And then comes in the eggs with the one hen per cage. And of course, we don't want to be that cruel to animals. So all that plays a role. Combine that with idiotic real estate prices. So that affects your lease rights. So much, all entangled together. So yes, in 24 months, prices have gone up 100%. And that is not something insignificant. So the individual who finally got the raise from $16 to $17 an hour, $18 an hour, they were stupid happy. Not a single thing in their life changed. In fact, they're worse off.
It got worse. Yeah, all these years in my business, I was trying to make sure that I'm paying my employees at least 10 to 15% above the market price. I could have done better, but I didn't want to hurt them in the long run. God forbid, if the economy goes into toilet, they're going to be overqualified to find somewhere else work. So I created another system of sharing profit at the end of the year. So whatever is extra, they're going to get paid at the end of the year. But now I feel like whatever I'm paying them, it barely makes the margin needed for them to survive. And I literally don't see a solution in my business as well. If I raise prices a lot, then I won't have much business. And so pretty much the only solution I have now, I'm just cutting my share, my profit. But I don't know how long it's going to take. And I'm pretty sure that every business is struggling with the same dilemma. God forbid if we get into even worse crisis, because when you watch all this podcasts and news, everybody's predicting that it's going to last another year and a half and maybe more. Do you think that your business will be able to survive?
Absolutely. We're in the type of industry that there's four industries that will survive regardless of the economy if they're run correctly. All right? Food. Everybody's got to eat. Yeah. Medicine. Take all my money, make me healthy.
Yeah.
All right? And I don't know if I can say this on your podcast, but sex.
I think I'll go that way.
Sex industry, it doesn't care about the economy. Yeah. All right? And recently, since the 80s was proven, is entertainment industry. Entertainment survives. People get bored, people get horny, people get sick, people get hungry. Can't fight those natural human instincts. So those industries will survive if the business is run properly, and you have to adjust your scale. So number one overhead of any establishment is payroll. So if you have less business, you cut your payroll. Yeah. It hurts. You're terminating a very good employer, laying them off. Doesn't make a difference. You're cutting them from their income source. For a very good reason. One, you can't afford it. Business isn't what it used to be. But it's not like people choose to come to a dentist.
Yeah.
It's not a choice. People don't choose that they're going to eat something today. It's not a choice. You can choose what you want to eat. You can choose which dentist you want to go to, and how, it's like, pull the tooth, I'll get the implant next year when I can afford it. So you can have those choices, but you can't have a real choice of not to eat or not go visit a dentist. Yeah. So those industries over there, they survive these economic hardships one way or another. They struggle, but they survive. It's not an optional business.
You actually mentioned, a very interesting topic, that people, no matter how bad it gets, they still want some entertainment.
Absolutely.
Do you have feeling like people want to have entertainment to kind of lost themselves into a different world and not to face reality when it gets tough?
Well, that's true all the time. I'm not sure if it's any more true during hard times. It might be. I don't understand psychology that well, but yes, I would say, look at it this way. Some people, when they're in a hardship, all they do is think about it.
Yeah.
They don't want to do anything else but think of a way out. And you have some people who are like, I need an escape. And what better escape than TV? Entertainment of any kind.
Entertainment.
You want to get lost in that fake world. Get out of your reality that sucks and enter
at least for a few hours.
Yep. It does help.
And when it comes to running a business, how big is your team now?
My whole staff that runs the store, we're at, I think, about 32, 33 employees. I mean, for a 5,000 square foot facility, we are in the supermarket class. So it doesn't matter if you're 5,000 or 10,000 square feet. The number of employees doesn't change dramatically. Mm-hmm. You're in that 30 to 35 range, can run a decent supermarket, yeah.
And when it comes to how often do you have meeting with them, if you do? And are you the one who conducts meetings, or you just have you distribute the responsibilities between partners? And how do you do that?
So in my partnership, we have very clear-cut lines. I have my responsibilities. He has his. We do not mix responsibilities. He has his obligations, and I have mine. Mine used to be holding department meetings. Uh-huh. Now it's his. I take care of the technical aspect, the financial aspect, the analytics aspect of it. Where we're making money, where we're not, where we need to save money, cut costs, or whatnot. He takes care of the day-to-day operations as far as holding meetings with, let's say, the cashiers or department heads in individual departments.
Well, I guess I shouldn't ask the question, but how often the meetings happen?
I can't tell you, but it's sometimes it's spur of the moment. Most of the time, he will schedule for at least once a month for a catch-up. Hey, what's going on? Is there any issues I need to be aware of in each individual department? He speaks with the department heads where they'll say, whatever it is, where the deli department might come back in, the head of the deli department might come back in and say, we're seeing this from our customers. And the butchers might come in saying, hey, in the meat department, because the costs have gone up so high, we have this issue. Things of that nature. And
when it comes to running a business, do you have any type of degree in business management?
I am a high school dropout.
So have you ever faced a moment in your business career that you actually realized that your knowledge is not enough and you need to take some seminars, classes, read books to improve and run business on bigger scale?
Every day.
When did that happen?
Excuse me.
From the first day?
Every day. Till today. Every day.
No, I'm talking about was there a moment since you started business from the first day, or you grew it to a certain point and then you figure out that it's not enough? Your knowledge is not enough.
This particular business, I've had several, but with this particular business, there have been times where I feel like there's knowledge missing. I am missing a tool set. What is the tool set I'm missing? I don't know. I don't know what it is. If you're looking at a craftsman with tools, am I missing a nail gun? Am I missing a hammer? I'm missing something because I feel like I'm not completely grasping the business, how to remain competitive, stay, active in the community, whatnot, to keep our presence alive, stop them going from the guy next door. And there's literally a guy next door. And so I'm always out there looking for information and books. Nothing beats books. Audio or, piece of paper. I don't care. Knowledge is knowledge. Good or bad. Read it, decide for yourself. There's been several times I found books that are just, I bought a book, I can't even remember the title of the name of the book, forgive me, but it had to do with your store's return policy. Mm-hmm. Randomly saw the book, randomly bought it. And this is when, I think Barnes & Noble was still a thing,
I still think. I love going there.
And I remember reading that book, and in that, forgive me, I don't know the title, but I'm sure you can find it. It was just about stores return policy. Uh-huh. And one of the Q&As over there said, I want you to think of a return policy at your store that you think will absolutely devastate you. Okay, we're in the food industry. Food industry is 48 hours. Most of the time, it walks out the door. If it comes back in, we have to trash it. We don't know where that steak's been. You don't want to buy somebody's returned meat or returned apple. Nobody does that. Canned good, jarred good, maybe if it's not pop. Sure, why not? You can put that back on the shelf. But if somebody comes back in with 3 pounds of ground beef they bought 3 days ago, you can't take that as a return. That's trash. Nobody's going to buy that. I wouldn't want to sell. I wouldn't want anybody in my family to eat that. So as I was reading this book, I'm like, okay, we're at 48 hours of unopened, sealed, XYZ. You can't do produce. You can't. Like, okay, fine. 7 days, everything, and I'll go bankrupt. And he goes, triple it. Son of a.
Holy shit.
Where's 30 days? There's a year. So I said, screw it. Walked into my business partner. I said, hey, we have a new return policy at the store. He's like, okay, what is it? 365 days, no questions asked on everything in the store. He said, you're insane. You're absolutely insane.
You're losing money anyways.
You're absolutely insane. We implemented that up until COVID. For the last 11 years, 10 years, 11 years, that was our store's policy. Wow. 365 days, no questions asked, anything and everything. Customers were used to return ground beef. We give them a refund, and in front of their face, drop right into the trash can. And they're like, what are you doing? I go, would you want to buy that knowing someone returned it? Like, no. So why would I sell it? I said, but you gave me my money back. Yeah, because that's our store policy. And they would just stare at me. Customer for life.
Yeah.
Cost
best quality advertisement.
$3,000 roughly of loss.
Mm-hmm.
I can spend $20,000 a month advertising on Facebook. I will not get that kind of customer loyalty. So yes, it was one of the best things. So no, there is not a single day that doesn't pass that I don't think I'm missing something. There's something out there. Hey, look, that's one great book. I give you 24 of garbage. 24 self-businessmen, whatever it is. Garbage. No, not a single piece of good advice in there. But you got to weed through that garbage to find the good stuff. And you can't do Amazon book reviews because, come on, everybody compliments everything or hates everything. And I'm so sorry. We used to have Siskel and Ebert for that. People we entrusted in their opinions of what is a good movie, what is a bad movie. In today's world, we have every schmuck with a cell phone thinks they're the next who knows what, okay? And they know what a good book is to a bad movie, and their opinion matters. Sorry, it doesn't, okay? Yelp might love you. I don't care for you. So I'll make my own decisions. And that's what it is with books, man. I see a title that makes sense. I read a few paragraphs that make sense, and all of a sudden, I'm like, this book is amazing or this book is crap.
Yeah.
But there's not a single day that doesn't go by that I don't want to learn more.
About opinions, there is a good saying that says every single person on this planet has two things that nobody cares about. I guess you know that joke. A bottle and opinion. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, about sacrificing in the long run, in a short run, to be able to win in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Do you play chess?
Yes.
Have you ever had feeling that knowledge of playing chess and trying to predict your opponent's moves, at least 2-3 moves ahead, helped you in running business?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because that's, I think I have a feeling, I mean, I do those tricks too in my industry, that in short run, even it hurts, I know I go through pain and I sacrifice small amount of my energy, resources, and money to be able to win in the long run. So, you think that do you use that in your industry as well a lot?
Absolutely. I was, excuse me, I was 6, 7, 8, roughly around that age, when my uncle, my dad's brother, taught me how to play chess, and he would drill me. What's your next 4 moves? I'm like, I'm not telling you. No, I want to know that you thought 4 moves ahead.
Yeah.
And you understand that exponential. When you go 4 moves in chess, it's exponential. And you're like, I'm not telling you. It's like, no, I need to know not because I want to know what your move is. I want to know that you actually thought it through. And he wouldn't stop. And the beauty is, it taught me that in real life. And that is absolutely real life. You have to, old cliche. One step back, 2 steps forward.
Yeah.
Everybody's so worried about the $2 today, they don't understand it's costing them $100 tomorrow.
I'm actually pushing my kids to foresee at least 3 moves ahead, but forces, it's a little bit more complicated.
Here's the critical thing, though, if I may. Never read a book on chess.
Never read?
Never read a book on chess.
Me neither.
Never, ever memorize moves. If you know, it's the blah, blah, blah opening with a blah, blah, blah.
Spanish attack.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Now you've memorized it.
Yeah.
You're no longer thinking.
Yeah.
What's the point then? I want to think.
Yeah.
I'll play chess with you. I'll win maybe 1 out of 5 games. Because every single time I'm trying something new. It's not about winning. It's about trying new tactics.
Using
I wonder and learning my opponent. I wonder what would happen with this. Did I guess right? Yep, I did. I knew that there's a greater chance that he's going to make this move against this play. So I better understand my opponent. So knowing chess by the book, what's the point? You're just great at memorizing.
It's like memorizing history.
Thank you.
And you just mentioned that your uncle taught you chess game. When you're younger, you have parents, uncles mentoring you, but you grow up, you get into the business field, and you still seek for mentorship. It might be 1 mentor, 2 mentors, it might be some virtual person that you read his book. Do you still have a mentor or mentors in your life?
See, that's really tough. To have one individual, I can't say I have one.
Life is too complicated.
Life is way too complicated. There are people who are very good in their narrow field. Yeah. And that's what it is to be a master of a field. I mean, anything less than 10,000 hours, you're not a master of the field. So life has too many fields to just have one. So yes, I have several people I look up to, but in very nuanced fields. And I take inspiration from them in that particular area. So to have one for all, no, I don't. But to have one in business, yes, I do. One in physical life, personal life, and all that, yes, I do. It's those individual channels, which is that person is honed and their skills are just amazing in that narrow channel. I'm not down talking. I'm just saying that's how you get to be a master. You know, if jack of all trades, master of none, what good are you? Yeah. But you go for that master of that one, and there's so much you can learn. So yes, it's like to point out one, no. You can't just be one and done. You want to have multiple. Because narrowing yourself to just one individual, then you're mimicking, you're copying, you're not really expanding on it. But having 4 or 5 in each field that are really good in their own fields, you try to take what you interpret as the best of from each one. You understand what I'm saying? It's to bring them together. It's like, well, if there's some contradictory ones, you take your own. Well, not cherry so much as to yourself. There's some part where you have to rely on your own intellect.
Yeah. And when it comes to, let's go back to the business part of being in partnership, especially a lot of people are against of being in partnership. They said, we just want to be sole owners and make our own decisions. But being in partnership, especially being in partnership with friend or relative, do you set any boundaries?
Absolutely. Black and white. There should be no gray. No gray at all. It's black and white from day one. And if there's anything gray in your own head, make sure you write that gray down. Make sure you discuss that with your partner. And this is not just in business. This is even in your own personal relationships. So if you're married, you have a significant other, spouse, it's the same. My wife looked at me like, is this a business deal? No, I'm just trying to make sure that there's no surprises for you or me. When it came down to my business partner, from day one, it was absolutely black and white. I told him specifically, 24 months, 24 hours a day. After that, I'm not obligated to be here or do anything. That is my business plan. So if you're okay with that, we can be business partners. If you're not okay with that, we end here. Then it went down to the nuances, which is that's my big deal.
Yeah.
The rest is the small stuff. Like, hey, I'm going to handle A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The rest is on you. Are you okay with that? Yes or no? This is how the money is going to be spent. There is no other way of the money being spent or dividends being passed out, profits being taken. There is no, we'll figure it out as it comes out. No. Day one, leave no questions, especially in business, unanswered. And especially when you're doing business with friends. Because friends come in with that friendly approach. It's okay. Dave won't care. How do you know? Have you discussed it with Dave? Do you know Dave's opinion? Do you know Dave's stance on this? No? Discuss it with that individual before you make that move. My business partner and I, there was no questions left in the air. He had no choice. You want to be a business partner with me? These are my ground rules. All right. There is no micromanaging, double guessing, and all that. Look, we have a cushion. Our cushion is $5,000. If it's less than $5,000, I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to waste your time. Don't call me. Don't waste my time. When it comes down to employees hiring, firing, I trust your opinion. Do whatever the hell you feel like is appropriate for the business at that day. When it comes down to these giant moves, hey, we're going to all of a sudden open a second location. Nay. We need to discuss this. And then when it comes down to, hey, I need you to do my job for me. Sure, when you're going on vacation, when you're not around, absolutely, I'll take care of you, bro. But when it comes down to, I'm out, I'm no longer going to do this, okay, well, that's not the deal. We're going to have to hire another individual to come in and take that role because I'm not going to take that responsibility. So you have to absolutely, I don't care. It's a friend, a stranger, I don't care. You absolutely need to discuss every foreseeable, and I do mean foreseeable. There are some things you cannot see in true black and white. And if it's gray, write the gray down. Write the gray. And he looked at me as if I'm next level. Holy, what are you thinking of? Where are you going with this? I said, I'm so sorry, but a left turn can end your life.
Yeah.
I love you. I love your wife. I do not want her as my business partner.
Yeah.
So we wrote a clause in there saying in the event of his demise, his wife will continue to receive the quarterly dividends until I buy her out at fair market value, which we'll both agree on. She cannot walk in all of a sudden and become the boss. I'm not partners with that individual. All right. And this is absolutely important. People don't understand this, that it is absolutely, I don't care if the person's your best friend for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, we all have fantastic girlfriends that make terrible wives. You got to watch out for that. And there's, especially in business, there is no, well, I don't want them. No, you do it. There is no, I don't want to, maybe it's too, no, you must discuss every single point.
Do you put that in writing?
Absolutely. With lawyers and with notarized signatures. Another
question. I'm a partner with a friend of mine in one business, and it's a pretty successful business. But we started another journey together, and my biggest mistake was that both of us were 50-50 partners. And it became a car with two steering wheels. So in your business, are you guys truly 50-50, or there is like 1% difference that somebody's making final decision? And does it make sense for you?
All right. In this particular venture in Red Top Market, because my business partner and I, we know each other very well. I can speak on his behalf. He can speak on my behalf. Yeah. That's how long we've been in a partnership. So he knows how I think, and I know how he thinks, and I know how he'll decide in one way or another. So we are truly 50-50 partners. Do I think that's the best plan? It's not the most ideal. It's not the most ideal.
Yeah.
But to try to combat the two steering wheels is, think of it this way, it should be one steering wheel with two hands on it. I like your analogy, but it's a very tough question. It's very nuanced. I don't like it, but sometimes it's for the best. To have two people there, I'm always go big or go home, and he's conservative. So he restrains a lot of my huge ideas and brings it back to reality. And I really appreciate that for him. I really do. When he agrees with my crazy ideas, then that means it's not crazy anymore. Yes. It's actually a good idea. So it's nuanced. It's very nuanced.
He promised me to be my guest as well, by the way. After 3 shots.
It might take a bottle. You're talking about my business partner sitting in this chair? Oh, God.
Yeah. At the beginning, he was like,
you'll notice
you better
the difference.
call Ara. And then he was like, 3 shots later, book me and I'll come. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I would love to see him in this chair. You're going to get, I think it'll be 20-1. For every 20 words I say, he'll say 1. And that's being generous.
So I guess I'll be most talking person.
Oh, yeah. He'll just sit here and smile.
Yes. So, I'm pretty sure you started multiple business adventures. What's your success rate? And where are you happy?
Oof. Wow, that's 2 different questions. My success rate right now is 20-1. For every 20 I do,
about the same as mine.
1 success. Ideas are a dime a dozen, and actually making it reality is a different beast, because there's only so much you can actually foresee. 4 moves ahead in chess is fantastic, but in business it might not be enough. There's a lot of outstanding things that could kick in. What was a part 2 of that one question? Was it?
What's your rate? When are you happy?
When am I happy? When am I happy?
At which rate are you happy?
Define rate. What do you mean by which rate?
Like 20-1. Are you happy with that rating?
Obviously, everybody would be 20 for 20. Come on. But am I happy with it? I don't know what to say. I mean, it is what it is. It's like, I can't say if I'm happy with it. If obviously I'll be happier if it was 10 out of 20. It would have been much better if I was 50-50. But the fact is that when you're as excited about new ventures as I am, trying out new things, testing new waters, playing chess without knowing how to play chess, and seeing what would happen, yeah, you expect 1 out of 20 is...
But have you ever had the feeling like, oh, I'm so glad this didn't happen in long run?
Once or twice. Once or twice, because it required too much of my time. It would have actually ended up dominating my entire waking hours, which is, I'm like, oof, I dodged a bullet on that, because there's no replacement in that world. Yeah. Because when you become irreplaceable in your own business... Yeah. You're no longer a businessman, you're an employee to that business. Yeah. And that's not the type of businesses I like to run.
Yeah. That was the meaning of at which rate are you happy? So imagine, I'm happy that it happened. And what was the most expensive shower that you ever took? Because ideas come when you're in the shower most of the time.
Most expensive shower. So I'll tell you. My most expensive shower cost me $500,000, and the funny thing is, this is where it gets like, of all the ironies and he-he's, what a teeny tiny world we live in. This gentleman and I, we're sitting at a restaurant. I'm saying this directly to the camera. I'm talking to you. We're sitting at a restaurant, and he looks me dead in the eyes, and we're all businessmen. We're talking business, and he looks me dead in the eyes. He goes, I once heard of a poker room in Hollywood. It was like, I think they were like actually like a really licensed poker room in Hollywood. I forgot the name, and I'm just staring dead eyes because I think he's messing with me. I honestly think he's just messing with me. It's like, that big scar you have that's barely healed, and somebody walks up and just starts poking it for fun. I thought I'm just saying, and he's staring at me like, why are you looking at me like you want to kill me? And I just like, And he goes, what? I go, you asshole. That was mine. He's like, you're kidding. I'm like, no, man. 18 months of planning. 18 months included fighting with the police commissioner to get the one and only time ever issued. The one and only time ever issued. Imagine fighting day in and day out, and the one and only time that California, Los Angeles County, the chief of police, which I had a long lunch with, issued a poker permit, a poker house permit in Hollywood, California was to me. And I wish they said no. And I was like, $500,000, like, sure, if I had another $500,000, I would actually made it happen, because right at the cusp of like going completely and utterly bankrupt, this is in 2007, 2008. So you can't technically blame me all in all, because it was right when the economy went poop. I was in the middle of negotiations with the bicycle club and Commerce Casino. So they're going to hold qualifying tournaments. We should add to my poker house was non-gambling. So wrap that around your head, okay? It was a point basis. Club. It was how good are you at poker without gambling with money. And Commerce Casino and Bicycle Club I was in the middle of contracts with them. They're going to pay me, I forgot how much, I think it's $60 an entrance to have pre-qualifying for a free entry into one of their actual tournaments, like the $5,000 or $10,000 buy. So they would pay me $60 ahead to hold pre-qualifying tournaments at my poker house, non-gambling. There's no entry fee, and it's just a test of skills. So the winner would get a free entry into a $5,000 or $10,000 tournament. And I was right in the middle of that, but I was, a month or two away from signing a contract, and money ran out. Landlord got sick of me saying, next month I'll pay you, next month I'll pay you, next month, and that was it. But yeah, that
was the most expensive show, right?
Twisted Spade was the name. Twisted Spade, where you don't need to gamble to have fun. You know what? I'll tell you this much. Of the entire course of the 18 months and the ridiculous amount of attention to detail I spent, custom cards, custom chips, each one's real, made from Icon, the chips, the same guys who make it for Vegas, same tables from Vegas manufacturers. You walk in, it felt and looked like a real casino. I even had Vice Squad come in and pretending, when in Fight Club, you don't speak of Fight Club. I'm like, no, bro, there's no gambling here. Relax. I had all that. The one part where I was like, hey, wait a second. I got the big boys' attention is that right across my street, Hustler Casino bought the billboard and was advertising the Hustler Casino. I was like,
that's a good sign.
Like that, come on, man. I got a giant neon sign on Hollywood Boulevard that says poker room. And Hustler Casino's advertising theirs where gambling is fun. Because my slogan was, you don't need to gamble to have fun. And their ad team literally put a giant 40-foot billboard across the street directly in front of me that says where gambling is fun. I was like, the boys are paying attention. Come on. Wow. That was fun.
Wow.
$500,000 later, but yeah, that was fun.
You still remember that?
And I still remember the dinner we were having. We were like, there was some guy. You could have said moron. Just replace guy with moron.
I remember your eyes like, you teasing me now?
I'm like, are you, what the?
Well, I didn't know you back then.
So yeah, there's that.
That's fun. And whenever you have free time, what's your best way of spending free time alone?
Alone?
Yeah.
Don't tell the wife this. No.
Always. It can be porcelain throne, whatever it is, but how do you love spending time with yourself? Hiking, yoga,
whatever. Do I look bendy to you? Personal time. If I have personal time, honestly, I spend it most of the time Googling the most random things. Not the kinky things, random things. It's advances in technology, advances in AI. It's my passion, it's my hobby. I want to know where we're going, where we're going to be in 5 to 10 years when it comes to technology. And that's honestly what I spend a lot of my time with. Sure, I got a badass Jeep and I go off-roading. I really do. And I go camping. I go cross country. I do a lot of these stuff as well, but that is a purpose. So when I go rock climbing, I want to have that adrenaline. When I go, overlanding, as it's called, with buddies, it's just to spend time with friends, disconnect, have no cellular connection, and just enjoy the time out there. So those have a purpose. But when I say personal time, honestly, my personal time is just reading random articles about the future of what IBM is developing for the next level of AI or Google's developing for the next level of AI, because honestly, that is the true future. waiting for the next Einstein is good. It's been a while. We don't have another Einstein. And that's why we don't have our generation Einstein. Elon Musk is not it. Elon Musk is a very good businessman who's a very good engineer.
With amazing PR.
Obviously, he starts by saying that he's Tony Stark, the next Iron Man. That's a bit much. Chill, bro. You are definitely the help me out here. No. Help me out here. Who was Nikola Tesla's actual thing? Think about it, man. I can't even bring up his name. Edison. Thank you. You're the Thomas Edison of our time. All right. Yeah. Which is, you're an engineer who's also a very good businessman. That's what you are. And I'm not disrespecting the man. The man is actually changing the world. Yeah. Nobody else would then, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start my own rocket company. Really? Okay. So,
and he actually started a trend among the billionaires. A lot of people follow them, like Bezos and
Bezos with his Blue Origin, and let's not talk about that.
Virgin Atlantic and
Virgin Atlantic. He was Branson has been working on space tourism for a while now. He's a nutso, but none of those were real. Blue Origin was a hobby. SpaceX is reality.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. When Jeff Bezos tweeted to Elon Musk saying, "Welcome to the club, pal," when he landed the first one, Falcon 9 rocket, I'm like, what? How? What? Listen, man, you went a mile up, hovered for 10 seconds, and came back down. I'm sorry, that man sent satellites to orbit and came back. It's not welcome to the club. He set a new level of it. Like, come on. So, no, that is absolutely, Elon Musk is legitimately brilliant. He is a very good businessman, and he is a very good entrepreneur, and he's a very good engineer. But to turn around and say he is the Einstein of our time, I don't think so. He is definitely the Edison of our time. He absolutely is.
And when it comes to artificial intelligence and computers and robots taking over 80% of professions, do you see future in your business in 20 years? Do you think it's still going to be around or not?
Absolutely. It's still one of those that require personal touch. Self-checkouts failed. If you're here in Southern California, you visited Fresh and Easy. Where are they today? Where are they today?
Not around.
So that comes in with that personal appeal. Self-checkouts have failed. Self-checkouts have failed miserably in the grocery industry. I've always said, if it cost me $200,000 per terminal and it worked, I wouldn't ask my business partner. It would be installed on my location. You understand? That's how, as far as overhead, training new employees, human error, a whole million reasons as to why I would absolutely, as a business owner, love self-checkout. Yeah. But I know it doesn't work. And Fresh and Easy is the ideal example. Self-checkout does not work when it comes down to a grocery environment. You are not a trained cashier. You don't want to be messing with all that. It's sloppy. Now, Walmart, they're the reason why we have barcodes on things. If you don't know, Walmart has been pushing heavily for RFID tags. Yeah. Okay, on basic goods. One, that's a bit tough to implement, and two, it's still ways to cheat around it, especially with simple aluminum foil. But they want it because you can walk out the store.
Stop giving me hints.
It's true though. It's not a simple Google search, right? So you can walk underneath an arch. And boom, everything is charged. You don't have to scan and weigh and all that jazz. Now, of course, Amazon Go stores are trying this. Uh-huh. And Amazon Go stores, there's a big, big difference. One, wow, as far as implementation costs.
And the camera.
Wow. Wow. I mean, if you've seen Amazon's new, it's kind of weird, Palm payment.
No, I haven't.
Oh, yeah, it's fun. So, it's like, oh, you give your face to Apple for Apple ID. Well, that's sort of a chip on my phone. Doesn't go anywhere. And like, well, what's the difference? We just scan your palm, and now when you're checking out, you just go, wow. Honestly. I'm like, that's a bit weird of a hand gesture thing going on over there. But anyway, that's how you pay at Amazon Go stores if you want. They're testing this out in Seattle. And everything just to get the customer to be able to get in and get out real quick. But you have I can't even tell you the amount of cameras tracking everything you do, whether you're happy, you're sad, you looked up, you looked down, you looked right, left, this, that. How long did you hold it up? Did you read the label before you put it? Everything. That's a lot of scrutiny. You're being, it's a bit much. It's a bit much. But those Seattle-based quick grabbing goals is that they're trying to do that where you just walk in, fill up a bag, and walk out. Don't have to do anything. You don't have to stop. You don't have to go through a checkout. For a regular business, that's way, way too much to implement, and the software costs absolute idiotic sums of money. So, I don't see that happening, man. I really don't see that happening outside of those small little locations.
Do you want to see your child taking over your business?
Oof. No. I don't want them to. This is not one of those generational things. We're no longer living that time, which is, your child learned how to do shoe repair from daddy, and it's third generation shoe man. Every individual is an individual. They take their own journey, and if they choose to come and follow daddy's footsteps, fantastic. They don't, fantastic. They teach their own. I mean, even our own children, we can't force them into something. If they want to step up, they like it, they're good at it. That's also important, because just wanting to isn't good enough. Just being the prince or princess is not good enough. Reason being is that there are too many people dependent on you. Yeah. This is one of those things that they don't understand, is that my 30, 40 employees are dependent on me. Their rent is based on my decisions. That's not a little thing. Yeah. Whether they can make next month's payments is based on how I operate my business. And you can't just discount that. And if your son, daughter is not willing and ready to take on that burden, being the big boss is fun on paper. In reality, it's nothing but a headache. I put my head on my pillow at night and I think business. Every time the wife asks me, what are you thinking about? What do you think? So it's not one of those that's like, oh, look, big boss, everything is free and easy and it makes all the money. That's not true. We have the biggest burden. Like you said earlier, we're the last to take a buck home. Yeah. Every dollar that we lose for the business is directly out of our pocket, and we're the last to take home. That's if the business is profitable.
Well, back to reality. When it comes to your personal life, running a business is no joke, and I've heard that you mentioned that you've had a deal with your partner that you're going to be investing 24 hours and 24 months and 24 hours in a business, and after that you're out so you can do your own thing. But running a business, especially multiple businesses and ventures, gets you to a point that you have to steal time from someone else to fulfill your dreams. That can be your family members, your friends, your partners. You have that guilty feeling that you need to compensate somehow. And how do you do that? If you have that feeling.
That is a very, very complex question. I've always been an all or nothing kind of guy. I'm not saying that's the right way to do things. I'm saying that's the way I do things. When it comes down to me, it is all work, no play. All play, no work. So, I can spend 14 hours a day just on work. Mm-hmm. Absolutely ignore the wife, the house, everything. Obsessive compulsive disorder. And all I do is work until I'm done. And when I'm done, I'm done. And then I'll spend the next 90 days, 4 months, 5 months, whatever it is, just with the household. Whether it's at home or traveling, doing whatever. Some people balance by doing 8-8-8. 8 hours of work.
Golden ratio, yeah.
8 hours of work. 8 hours of whatever. Rest, relaxation, play, whatever you want to call it. 8 hours of sleep. I am the more of the 4-4-4. 4 months of work, 4 months of rest, 4 months of play. I'm like that. I'm not saying that's the right way to do it. I'm saying that's the way I do it. It's because when I get into the zone of business, I have not a single megahertz of computing process left over for anything else. Luckily, I have a family, a wife, and a household that understands my mentality. So I will spend whatever time is necessary. I'm not saying it's perfect 4-4-4.
Yeah.
But I will be whatever time is necessary for my businesses for me to, all random numbers aside, spend 100 hours, 100% on my business. Whatever it is that day I'm doing. And nothing else but that. Every waking hour. Does that mean I'm having breakfast at my desk? Absolutely. Am I having dinner at my desk? Yes, I am. Am I going to sleep 20 minutes after I'm barely done doing work? Yes. Am I awake at 5:30, 6 a.m. and at my desk? Yes. And then when I'm done, I'm done. There's no phone calls, no emails, no nothing.
You're not there. There's a saying that when you do something and it doesn't make you money, it becomes a hobby. Do you have a hobby?
Do I have a hobby? I think the best way to answer that question would be yes. As in
hobbies.
All of them. All of them. From microelectronics, Raspberry Pis, and all of them. And Legos, and I could go on for hours. Woodworking, metal shop. I have a lathe. Yes, I have all the hobbies.
Awesome. When it comes to traveling,
oh my goodness,
you do travel,
yes.
And I know you've done an amazing journey last year, and I hope to see the recordings of that. Hopefully in upcoming decade or whenever it's gonna happen. But what's your favorite way of traveling?
Oh dear God, are we talking about alone or with a wife?
Is that a hobby or is it?
If we're talking about traveling,
is that a vacation or relocation?
Okay. When it comes down to traveling, yes, I've traveled pretty much the world. There's still a few locations left. Some I don't ever plan on going to, and some I can't wait to go to. But when it comes down to traveling, it's the difference between those who plan every minute of every day, and it's because they travel rarely. And when they do travel, they want to make the most of it. That 2-week vacation that their boss gave them. As opposed to me, which is I'm gone for a month, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when I'm out there, I get there with pretty much no plan, but I've got a list of places that I need to go.
Uh-huh.
And when I get there, I get there. Like my last trip was 6 months ago, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, and it was for 45 days. And I flew into Paris, rented a car, and the wife and I were out. And we knew where we were going to end up, but what we were going to do, the locations we were going to, it was play it by ear. And yeah, it was, let's just say 45 days, I put 8,000 kilometers on my rent-a-car, and it was trip of a lifetime, honestly. I've done that, backpack from one 4-star hotel to another 4-star hotel, and backpacking across Europe. I've done that as well, and that has its own. But during COVID, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and rent a car and We're going to go from one nice place to another nice place and see what happens.
Do you prefer high-end traveling, like luxury hotels and restaurants, or like camping?
No.
Wildlife?
I'm both. So when I'm visiting abroad, I'm sorry, not sorry. I don't know how this comes out on camera, but I usually go from one 5-star to another 5-star with a wife. With a friend, I don't mind 3-4 stars. But when I'm with a wife, not because she requires it, because I'm kind of like that, is that I need a concierge at a location where I can say, hey, what am I doing today? And the concierge handles pretty much all my reservations, all the itinerary. And because they're locals, they know what is actually worth it versus your travel blogs. Whole bunch of lies on travel blogs. So we're not going to go with travel blogs. So we get to a location. I ask the concierge at a proper 5-star, where are we going? When I'm with buddies traveling, which I don't do much anymore, when I'm with buddies, 3-4 stars is totally fine, and we'll figure it out as we go. But if we're talking about buddies and overlanding, no, bro, you're talking about the most rugged guy there is. I am in a cot tent, which is a coffin shaped like as a tent, 18 inches off the ground. I eat from freeze-dried food. Nope. All's good.
So, the stuff that you mentioned that you prefer, like high-end traveling and all that stuff, I guess that's the main reason that you started your own journey in business, to be able to afford and to be able to experience a life on different level.
If I may interject, that is an assumption. I started my own business for one and one reason only. I want it absolutely clear, is that I wanted to be in charge of my own destiny. And that's a lot to ask. I am responsible for my own being. When it comes down to business, this country, America, gives us the opportunity to do our own, to prove our own worth. When it comes down to freedom, it's the best way to attain freedom without being locked in as I'm a businessman, but I run the business 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm a businessman who establishes businesses, puts down the rules, lays on the rails, however, whatever you want to say, and let it run on its own. And yes, of course, I could make a lot more money if I'm there day in, day out. I'm not paying anybody else to do my job for me. But my job is not to be there for the day in, day out. My job is there to create the business, hire the right individuals, and have it run on its own, thus giving me the freedom to do what I want. And this is not so that I can be free to take fancy schmancy vacations. Is that I, as an individual, as a person, as who I am, and I know who I am, doing the same thing every single day would absolutely drive me mad. That's why I did it. Not for the freedom, but for the ability to do other things.
For your comfort.
Negative. For my ability to do other things. There's a big difference between sitting at home watching Netflix.
To be comfortable enough to do other things.
To have the freedom, the ability. So there's a lot of businessmen out there who open up a business
and so they get stuck.
They're nobody's their boss. I am my own boss. Fantastic. You are your own, for lack of a better word, slave.
True.
You are enslaved by your own creation. Negative. True. I will not play in a field where it requires all of my time, all of the time. There's a key difference over there, which is, are you a businessman or are you a mom and pop?
The question I started was, how big do you want to be?
Ooh.
Is there a limit? Is there a limit that you want to say, you know what? From this point on, if I grow bigger, I'll experience discomfort and I won't be able to do other things that I enjoy doing.
So there was a fantastic survey done of quality of life, let's call it that, between this level and that level. There is no quality of life difference. Once you get past the poverty line, I mean, when you get past the poverty line to stable, normal income, to, oh my, wow income, there's no quality of life difference. So when you ask me how big I want to get, let me put it to you this way. There's an old movie called The Edge. Anthony Hopkins, Alec Baldwin. One of my the favorite line in that entire movie is, should we lay down and die? So it's not about greed. It's not about more. I need to make more money and more money. I want all the monies. I want 1 0 to become 3 zeros and 5 zeros. Listen, at the end of the day, digits in your bank account are not going to make you a happy man.
That's true.
So if it comes within yourself, where it's not about ambition and world domination, it just comes with that, what else am I supposed to do with my time? I have butchers at my store that are past 70. Hey, dude, go retire. What do you want me to do? Sit at home, watch TV? My mother just turned 71. She works 30 hours a week. She doesn't have to work. She hasn't had to work for the last 10 years. She's like, what do you want me to do? Sit at home and watch TV? So you have people who just need to get out and do something to contribute to society.
To be used, to feel like they need it.
Absolutely. You have I just want to sit at home and play Nintendo. Says how old I am. All right? And you have those that need to get out and do something. In my world, personally, is that I would spend 100% of my waking time on my businesses. Yeah. Whatever it is, whatever my current venture is. And then I will spend 100% of my time with my family, traveling, doing nothing, whatever you want to call it. But doing nothing? It's not about greed. It's not about making that next zero. It's just, what else can I make? What else can I make reality? It's fun. It's exciting.
And what kind of legacy you want to leave?
Legacy. Oof. That is a big fat question. You're asking all the fat questions. Legacy. What I want to be.
How you want to be remembered?
How I want to be remembered. Well, when it comes down to the family, as long as they don't remember me as a bastard, that'll be great. But I would want to be remembered as a man who's never bored.
I'm sure you get that covered.
Boredom is the death of us all, man. And you can't wait for Netflix to put on the next interesting show. Yeah. You need to get out and
do something.
Find something internally that excites you, whatever it may be, man. Find internally what excites you. You know, I had an old friend, and he would say, I just wish I could make $10,000 a month sitting at home playing video games. Well, in today's world, you can. Easily. But guess what? He doesn't. Because that's actual work.
Yeah. That's true. Crazy. Yeah, sometimes you set goals. I mean, when you start business at the beginning, first year and second year, you're trying to survive, compete, and you get to a level that you pretty much are stabilized and you feel comfortable and you pretty much have access to things that you were dreaming to have access to. And you actually realize that the stuff that you were dreaming about, if you start using that, it's going to slow you down and pull you back. So, do you do reality checks on you, and how often if you do? To stay sane, not to go crazy, not to go wild, not to go, oh man, that's my childhood dream to have, like, I don't know, goodness, threesome, whatever you call it.
That's a childhood dream of mine. But I'll tell you this much, I am my 12-year-old's hero. Because I've been lucky, or tenacious enough to accomplish a lot of what I wish I could do at 12. So, that's what was the question again?
Do you do reality checks? If yes, how often?
Depends on what you mean by reality check. I mean,
not to be taken away by gluttony, lust, all the stuff that actually
the cardinal sins.
Yeah.
I've never had that problem. I haven't. Because none of that's ever interested me. I've never been interested by that.
When it comes to you.
No, actually it doesn't. I'm not even kidding you. It never comes to me. I've just never been interested by those things. I was 40 by the time I was 18. I was never interested in those things, which is ironic. I mean, I'm an atheist, and to sit back and talk about those 7 sins, and I totally understand the 7 sins because they will take you away. And never been interested by any of those. They're nice, don't get me wrong. There's a reason why they're there. But no, my life has always been about, all right, what's next? Let's keep it interesting.
I guess you're a lucky man.
That or, one or another way of like, the normal doesn't affect me. I don't understand.
Yeah. And, what keeps you moving? I mean, at the younger age, you have dreams, goals. What keeps you moving now, today?
Oh, that is a fantastic question. But you got a really great bunch of questions over here. Honestly, it's when I reach a goal, when I honestly reach one of my goals, and my goals are not, small little things, and I attain a goal, and I look at myself like, okay, that's great. Now what? Now what? Where do you want to go from here? What's the next step? And I start looking at more impactful things I can do. Honestly, it's like you stop with, okay, you've got your stuff covered. Who else can I cover? What else can I do that's actually impactful, that can make a dent, a scratch, a micro dent, whatever you want to call it, on civilization itself, mankind itself, whatever it is. If I've affected the life of 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, 40 people, those numbers actually add up. When you spend enough time working with people, making a difference, the decision between hiring them, firing them, and changing a small little corner of one community, you start understanding how impactful your decisions, your actions can be as a business owner, as this local small mom and pop operator, when we are that same size. And it's like, no, if I can help more people, I will help more people. Sure, I make a buck doing it, but I'm helping people. Honestly, that's actually what it is. The way I run my businesses has always been without micromanaging. People don't want to get report cards every day of their life. And most businesses, that's what they do. When they do their quarterly employee reviews, their write-ups, it's like you're always being judged, always being questioned for your actions. And that is a lot of stress, tiresome, unneeded for most everyday people. And I don't do that in my establishments. So I try to help them out where they can just come in, do their job. As long as they're pretty good at it, they're good. So and I feel like I'm helping them that way. Let's put it to you that way.
2 questions later, but you covered the legacy question.
Oh, legacy? There's a legacy question?
You just mentioned about hiring and firing.
Yes.
I remember the first person I fired. I'm not talking about hiring. It's a different beast, but I overcome that part. But firing person, the hardest decision is to fire a person and all right, can you stay friend with the person you fired? And do you stay friendly?
Rare occurrence, but it has happened twice.
Like, what do you go through when you fire the person?
So, in my particular situations, the two individuals, they knew they were going to be terminated. So they resigned. Because for me to terminate a friend is an impossibility. And they knew that the only reason why they still had a job is because I can't utter the words, "You're fired." I'm not Trump. And he, in both cases, was a male. They both sensed it coming, so they just both bowed out. And thus we stayed friends. They knew they had failed me. They had failed me for a very long time. It wasn't for one occasion or one part of it. That they had failed me for consistently for a very long time. And I deserve more. Why? Because they wouldn't be in the positions they were in any other field. 2, I've given them plenty of warning, plenty of advice, and plenty of leeway to get it done. And they still are not willing / not capable. So out of respect for me, they bowed out. And that's why we remained friends.
I use that technique too. I just create conditions for them not to, pretty much, not
There's
too comfortable.
There's the door.
For the person that is watching us or listening to this podcast, if we get lucky, and he's in like age of making decision to start his own journey, what's your number one advice?
The journey as in becoming a businessman? All right. Ask yourself this. Are you becoming a businessman because you're a businessman or because you don't want to work for anyone else? Critical question. If your ego is not going to allow you to work for someone else, and thus you need to be the big boss in the house, are you capable of being the big boss in the house? Or are you just there to be the big boss so you can boss people around because you're sick and tired of being bossed around? Critical difference. All right. You can't force respect from your employees. Your employees give you the respect that you earn. Will you be able to earn that respect? Are you knowledgeable enough of your business? Can you manage it? Can you handle it as an employee? Not there as I am the big boss in the house. Look at me. Look at my fancy chair. Or are you there because I'm not going to work for anybody else? Be honest. Because your employees will see right through you.
That's some amazing advice. Well, none of us are native in this country, and we came here.
None of us, as in you and me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm talking about us, and we'll come here with dreams.
Yes.
And most of the dreams we get from movies, from the books that we read, from news and all that stuff. And we come here, we go through tough times, we meet people that who were born here and they're like 3rd or 4th generations native. And I hear a lot that they say that the American dream is dead. What's your opinion about that?
George Carlin once said that to believe in the American dream, one must be asleep. George Carlin. Very great comedian. But the American dream is not dead. Yes, it's not as attainable as it was in the 50s in the boomer generation.
Which is good.
Which is good how?
Less competition for us.
So, there's it's compounding factors that'll affect you attaining the American dream. And what is the American dream after all? Is it owning your own house? Is it owning your own business? Is it being free? What is the true American dream? Because owning your own house went from $3,000, which was, by the way, 3 years of a single household income. So if you were a fireman in your local town, 3 years of your income equal $3,000, and you could buy a $3,000 house in your neighborhood. Today, we're at 10. 10 years
of your
2
life.
incomes. 2. That's you and the missus. 10 years of your income equals 1 house in your neighborhood. So is the American dream owning your own house in your neighborhood? This is the part that gets, a dream to a nightmare. What are we talking about here when it comes down to American dream? The freedom to start your own business, to be your own boss, to do what you like. What is the American dream? The white picket fence? So I need more clarification on that, if you don't mind.
I cannot pinpoint any other country in this world that will give you as much opportunities for first generation immigrant as me, without knowledge of language, even though mine is not even close to be good now. To be able to set a goal and achieve it. Well, we just came back from a little break, because it's actually interesting, but it's long. And the next question, I know we stopped at the sad topic. I don't remember where we stopped. But what's your biggest fear? What keeps you awake at night?
Ooh. Did you hold a survey on amazing questions and you're like, these are the amazing questions?
Those are the things that bothers me most. It hurts me most.
That's a businessman. It's the unknown. Obviously, it's the unknown. It's the I'm not prepared for it. Last thing you want to be as a businessman is unprepared.
I know as a businessman you can. It's the hardest part to separate being a human and being a businessman. But besides running a business, and I've heard many answers to the question, what keeps you awake? That you don't want to fail in front of your employees. You want to keep them. The difference between a person that works for someone and the person that is creating work is the person who works for someone don't want to think about tomorrow. He actually wants to have enough confidence that he's going to have work tomorrow and he's going to have an income. That's your responsibility.
100%.
Besides that, what's your biggest fear as a human being? Like, as a husband, as a brother, as a child, the son, as a person who's successful but don't want to lose his reputation. What was the biggest fear that sometimes you just don't want to admit that you have that?
Well, that's 2 different things, man. In my world, that's 2 different things. Biggest fear and something I don't want to admit are 2 different things. Biggest fear is being pointless. A pointless existence. Absolutely pointless existence. Something I don't want to admit is the make it up as you go. Which is, at a lot of times, you hear it a lot. Fake it till you make it. You hear that crap all the
bullshit.
time. It is absolute crap. And it's not about fake it till you make it. It's never say no. Always say yes. Yes, I know. Yes, I can do it. No. You're going to get called out real quick. But my biggest fear is outside of the not knowing something. So I'm always over prepared. And I'm not saying that just to say hey, you need to know something about everything. It's that a situation may arise. It's not about your employer, your employees, whatever it is. It's just life itself. You're never done learning. We'll go back to the beginning, which is, yes, I read books. Yes, I find the most random, obscure crap there is. I don't care about reviews. I don't care about what other people's opinions are on the matter. Is that I need to develop my own opinion of the most obscure things there is, or the most common things there are. Everybody's got an opinion about everything, but still, it's good to know. So I spend a lot of my time, honestly, taking in feedback and input from other people. As ridiculous as it may sound, as ignorant as the sources may be, there's a reason why sometimes focus groups are held with 4-year-olds and 6-year-olds. They're unbiased. They have no one to impress. And you get the most random crap, and some of it's just absolutely brilliant from a 6-year-old because they're unbiased. Now you come into this world of successful people and business coaches and analysts and whatever. But when you take all of them in, you kind of sift through it in your own way. And it's important because you'll never know when you're going to get blindsided by a random situation, a random question. Now, sure, that's my own neuroses, my own complexity, but it helps me in my everyday life. Honest to God, it helps me with my everyday life, which is you never want to be faced with a question you're not prepared to answer. It's not wrong to say, I don't know. It's not wrong. It's better to say, I don't know, than make crap up. I don't know. It's easy. But you want to limit that amount, honestly, because people are looking at you. If you're going to run a business, you're the captain. And this isn't about ego and that crap. This is people coming up to you, looking up to you, seeking you out for your input on whatever it may be, from your own business, they're your employee, whatever it may be, and you want to have an answer prepared, or at least the capability to answer it knowledgeably, not just out of your butt. And knowing all these random things gives you the tools you need to come to a decisive decision, because indecisiveness can kill you.
Oh, another tough question. Why do you do whatever you do? Why are you the person? Why are you Ara that will know? And is it just because while I'm asking the question, I can partially answer that as well, because you can ask me the same thing. Why am I doing this? Why am I having this podcast? Why am I sitting here and talking to you? And why do I need this? The most simple explanation I could find is my personality and my ego. Sometimes ego sounds like it's a bad thing, but ego is majority of your personality. That's what you are. So, what's your goal in this life? What's your mission in this life? Why you do whatever you do?
Oof. I'm not kidding you, man. You came up with a fantastic question. I do what I do because repetitive tasks, same old day in, day out, is non-existence. It is a hamster in a wheel cage. Pointless exertion of energy. And that's not for all. Alright, that's not for all. I need to add a little caveat over there, which is there are people who are uncomfortable with waking up and not knowing what they're doing that day. And there are people who are uncomfortable, such as myself, waking up and knowing exactly what's in store for that day. That's the difference. So you have to look into yourself and ask yourself, am I this or that? So if I'm okay knowing that, in fact, I'm not okay, I prefer it, knowing I will be at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. p.m., whatever it is, doing XYZ in this order, and I'm done for my day, then you do you, bro. All right? There's nothing wrong with that. I forget his name. Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe, I remember his name. The guy who did Dirty Jobs. Do you remember that guy?
Oh, amazing post.
Fantastic. Yeah. Not only is he a highly intellectual individual, he's a well-known Broadway voice actor and all that stuff. But we demean the regular employee. We do. We demean the people that make this world actually function by saying, oh, that's, blue collar, that's
way above that.
All that jazz. Your parents will be disappointed if you're not a doctor or a lawyer and blah, blah, blah. Shut up. All right? Whatever makes you happy. If you don't want the headache, because we have headaches, you have headaches.
A lot.
We go to bed about a decade ago. I found out that the only way I could go to sleep peacefully is by listening to an audiobook. And the only reason why that was is because I could not get my mind to shut down because I'm constantly thinking about how am I going to adjust this? How am I going to fix that? How am I going to make this more efficient? And that's what it is to be a businessman. Honestly, that's what it is. And some people just can't live with that. And that's fine. That's totally okay. That's absolutely okay. We need the skilled labor. Skilled labor is, I don't want to say mindless, but you're not constantly solving problems. You need to take two pieces of metal and weld them together. Then you take two pieces of metal and you weld it together. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's what Mike Rowe did, which was, hey, we made it where your basic skilled labor is now peasant status.
Yeah.
Which is completely idiotic and wrong. It is. 100%. All right? Which is you do what makes you happy. And that's actually what that means. Is that if you're okay going to bed and not giving two bits of a crap what your boss has to worry about, then that's fine. That's your position here. If it makes you happy, that's it. But we're here talking about businessmen, all right? And as businessmen, we're constantly thinking. And we choose that life. Nobody forces this upon us. We choose this, all right? So I found out years ago that if I do not put on a random, and I do mean random, audiobook series to get lost in, I can't go to sleep because I can't get my mind to shut down. So that's what I used as a trick to go to sleep. Now, what was your question again?
Yeah, so
it's like...
Well, it's a time for short blitz questions.
Shoot.
And we're gonna pretty much wrap up.
Oh no, we were having so much fun. The audience is enthralled.
I'm really hoping that you're gonna come back to this podcast, and we're gonna have many more conversations because I feel like even 24 hours is not gonna be enough. When it comes to traveling, is it airplane or a car?
Both. I prefer the car, though.
When it comes to vacation, is it hiking or laying on the beach?
Never on the beach. I'll take a good hike any day.
When it comes to fun, is it museum or club?
Never a club. Club is not fun. Museums all across the globe.
When it comes to exploring new country, is it museums or high-end restaurants or local food joints?
Come on, man. Local food every time. You want that mom and pop who is somebody else's mom and father in that town. You don't want a 5-star chef. You want Michelin rated. You don't. No.
When it comes to extra free time, is it with friends or alone?
Is there such a thing as an extra free time? Oh wow, dude, both, man. I honestly, if the day had 48 hours, it would not be enough. And if I find a few hours, I try to spread it evenly through all my friends and the missus.
What's your favorite liquid?
Liquid coffee.
I don't want to call drink.
Coffee.
It can be liquor
Coffee.
or coffee.
Hot, cold, nitro-infused coffee.
Well, we had tonight's guest, Ara Kirakosyan, the co-founder and co-owner of Red Top Grocery Market. And the information about that market and the address is going to be below this podcast. It's located in Burbank. And for us, you can find us on most of the major social media platforms. Don't forget to like, subscribe, bless our algorithm, and whatever that happens for the algorithm to notice us. I've had actually this little theory that the algorithm is previous god of luck. You just have to light a candle in proper position and have a prayer somewhere else to have same thing. Like, comment, share, and whatever it is. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast. And whoever's interested to be a guest at this show, please don't forget to direct messages, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching and listening to this podcast. Ara, thanks for coming, and I really, really hope that this is not the last time that you're a guest at this show, and we'll discuss more and more very interesting topics here at our podcast.
I'm glad to be here, and as long as you keep the interesting questions coming, we'll be fine.
I guess another bottle of Macallan will fix that. Peace.